Hi, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with a Career Coach. I am here with my colleague and good friend, Shelby Stein, and I will let her introduce herself in just a moment. But first, as we do on every episode of Coffee with a Career Coach, I'm going to introduce myself and then share with you my coffee. I will not actually share with you my coffee, but what I'm drinking. That'll be really hard virtually. So, my name is Erica O'Toole. I'm an assistant director in the Career Development Center, and I work with our College of Education and Human Services and our global campus students, as well as our First Impressions program and our outreach program. For my coffee, okay, so I have a little something to share with you. So this is my new fall mug. Whoops. Really excited about it. I don't know how many of you guys are Rae Dunn fans, but I love Rae Dunn. So this is my new fave mug. I just cannot seem to get it in the picture. There we go. But my coffee is not actually in the mug because I'm drinking iced coffee. But it's fall, so I had to share my new cool mug with you all. But I'm drinking my iced coffee from Big B with caramel, marble, and white lightning syrup. So, you know, if you drink iced coffee, it's a good combo. And I'm going to share Shelby now with you. Here's her introduction.
Listen, I'm telling you what, it's that time of year, right? My name is Shelby, like Erica said. It's been a while since I've been on. I'm really excited to be back. It's been a really busy time for all of us, really. Obviously, students are back now. And for me specifically, I'm the Assistant Director of Employer Relations. So the long and short, I plan and help execute our career fairs, which of course this semester have all been virtual. And that is what we're talking about today. So I'm really excited to speak a little bit to some of the events we had last week, some of the things we've learned. Overall, it was an incredible experience. I've heard wonderful things from both students and employer partners. And I want to talk about our fair coming up on Friday, October 9th. So we'll go over everything you need to know to make sure that you are ready to rock and roll. As far as my coffee, which again, if anybody has watched my past videos, I am probably the most boring coffee connoisseur. I love coffee. I always drink black coffee. I literally don't think I've ever had like a mocha frappuccino, whatever it is that, you cool people drink. But anyway, so black coffee for me. I recently got a setup for pour over. So if I have time in the morning, that's like very relaxing, or French press or Keurig if I don't have time, which is what happened this morning. So anyway, happy to be here. Happy to be drinking coffee with you, Erica. And I'm excited to chat about the virtual career environment.
Awesome. So I see we have a few of you joining us. Welcome, Michelle. Thank you for saying good morning to us. And I just want to encourage you all to ask questions throughout. I know this is a topic that is confusing as we go through these different times of virtual interviews and virtual career fairs. So please feel free. This is your time to ask us questions. Feel free to ask those in the chat function. I think Shelby's going to start us off by just showing you how to register and then a little bit about the platform, and then we'll share some of the questions that we've seen frequently asked. So I'm going to go ahead and show Handshake on the screen right now, and Shelby's going to give us just a brief overview on first how to register for the fair.
Perfect. Thanks, Erica. So yeah, what we're advising all students to do, obviously the environment in which you're attending a career fair is different, right? It's online versus in person. But the way that you find out about the event, the way that you can see who's attending, that has not changed, and that's in Handshake. So that's your first place to go. Erica has that up right now. So again, you'll log in with your CMU Global ID and password. Again, students and alum. So alum, if you are experiencing any issues logging in and you want to attend a career fair, just get a hold of our team. We'll make sure you're situated. So Erica is hovering over the events tab. You'll go ahead and click events. And what's really cool here is that obviously employers are getting creative in ways that they want to connect with students. So some of them are hosting informational sessions, different professional development type of things. So you'll see all of that in here. These are not just CMU events. An easy way to get to the career fair specifically is along the top there, Erica, or you can search it. You can click career fair if that's easier. Perfect. And that will show you the career fairs. So scroll down. Perfect. So you'll see CMU Fall 2020 Virtual Alpha Kappa Psi Career Fair on Friday, October 9th. Go ahead and click in there. Perfect. Okay. So I think the most important thing to know ahead of attending a virtual event in Brazen, so that's our virtual career fair platform, is that Handshake and Brazen are two different platforms. They're two different things. So you will need to create a Brazen account and register for the event outside of Handshake, okay? So that is different, and that is one thing we want to make sure students know. The way the day itself is going to run, because of our capacity limits in the platform itself, Brazen, we had to split up the sessions into two. So we have a morning session from 9 to noon. We have an afternoon session from 12:30 to 3:30. Employers could only register for one session. So you will see, like, if you really want to talk to 3M or General Motors or whatever, they had to register for one specific session. So we are telling students, if you are available all day, we highly recommend you attend both. And we want to make sure you realize that those are two separate registration processes, is really the whole point of me talking about this. So again, you'll see all the information here. If you scroll down for me, Erica, you'll see employers attending. So yep, keep scrolling. Okay, can you click the show all? Fantastic. So again, if this were an on-campus event, you would see this. This is something we've always preached, make sure you're going in, you're doing your research. What's fantastic is that now you will see not only the company, what they're hiring for. So right now it's saying 3M is seeking, IT interns. They're specifically looking for juniors and sophomores, but you'll also see the session that they're attending. And I think why this is important is that it will allow students to really prepare for whatever session they want to attend. Again, hopefully it's both, but you can do your research ahead of time and plan accordingly. So I would definitely suggest first step being you go into Handshake and you really just take a look at the companies that are going to be there before you even create your account in Brazen and register. So go ahead and go back for me, Erica. Okay, so scroll down just a hair. Thank you, right there. So you can see that maroon text that says you need to go to Brazen to create your account and register for the morning session and the afternoon session. So both of those are hyperlinked and both of those are separate. I don't know if it'll kick you out, Erica, but you can try that if you want. I don't know if you feel comfortable or if we worry we'll lose it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what it's showing Erica right now is that she already has an account. So if this is the first time you are clicking into Brazen, you will see a different screen. And that screen will ask you to create an account, and all you will need to do that is your name and email address. I think that's it, right? So it's just like creating a general account. Once you do that, you will then see the screen. Can you go back, Erica, one? I'm sorry. Perfect. So, okay, so you create your Brazen account, you're good. Then you have to register. So you create an account, but you have to still register for both events. So if you go back into the link that Erica had just clicked, you will then see exactly what she's seeing once you have an established account, right? So just like it says Career CMU along the left-hand side, it would say your name because it's registering that you already created an account. The event registration form is what the employer will see when they connect with you. So we will talk about kind of what it looks like in the event in a second. But I would highly advise that if you have a headshot, go ahead and throw it on there. This will be great for employers because after they're done communicating with you, they can do a download of the folks that they talk to. And I think it would help them to put a face with the name if you so choose. We have a couple of non-required fields, and that's really just where you're from. Also not required, but highly, highly recommended is a resume. So make sure you connect with our team, and we'll talk about that after we're done with the Brazen walkthrough, on the importance of having a resume uploaded here, because as an employer is chatting with you real time, they have the ability to review your resume if you upload it here. That is not something you can share with them once the chat has started, so you'll want to make sure that you upload it ahead of time. Scroll down for me, Erica. And again, just so you know what to expect, we ask for your global ID, we ask for your major, what you're seeking. And this really is all just feedback we receive from employers on what's most important as they engage in virtual conversation with students. Knowing this ahead of time is very, very helpful for them. So that's the registration form. So again, you will create a Brazen account. Once you have that account created, you will register. So you can access this registration form, again, by visiting Handshake and clicking on the 2 hyperlinks that are in the body of the text. And I hope that kind of makes sense. So now let's transition, Erica, if we can, into the lobby. If you remember,
Yep,
that's another window for you. Okay, so while she's pulling that up, I want to go over kind of what to expect. So I would advise students to complete that registration process ASAP. You could do it today, you could do it tomorrow. You could, of course, do it leading up to the event. That's completely fine. But again, I would suggest that you do it beforehand. You can, because it is virtual, drop in and out as often as you need to. So each session is 3 hours in length, but if you know that you have a 15-minute break here and then a half-hour break later on, you can go in and out as you please, which is really the beauty of the whole event itself. So once the event starts, this is what you'll see. So you log in, and this is our quote lobby. So all of the attending employers will be listed here, so you can see that we, the Career Development Center, will have a booth. Highly encourage you to drop by if you have any questions at all, whether that's just to make sure that your audio and video are working. You can do that, which Erica, remind me to touch on that when we're done with this walkthrough. But then you'll see all of the booths. So let's say you really want to talk to auto owners. Can you go ahead and click into auto owners for me, Erica? Let's see if it'll let you. Yep, okay, perfect. So this is what you will see. It may look a little bit different, obviously, because the event will actually be happening. But this is auto owners page. So where you see that can't chat right now, leave a note along the right-hand side, there will actually be a green chat button. So again, the event's live, you're in there, you would click the chat button. If there is a line, a virtual line, which there may be, you will just be put in a queue. And how that works is you can enter as many booths as you'd like. You can wait in as many lines as you'd like. And the reason we love Brazen is because they do everything in the back end. So you will never technically lose your spot and be pushed to the bottom. But if you start chatting with auto owners and you are also in line at 3M, and a spot becomes available, the person below you in the 3M line would just jump ahead of you until you're available, basically. How that looks real time is that you will receive a ding, a notification. So it's very important that you have your audio on and you will automatically be connected with a recruiter. It will start as an audio chat. Not audio, text chat. So it'll start as a text chat, but most of our employers have taken advantage of the capability to either video chat with our students or connect with them via audio. So they will initiate that with you. You cannot, as a student or alumni participant, initiate with them. But again, it's super, super easy. So it's as easy as popping in the booth you're interested in, grabbing a spot in line if there is one, or automatically connecting with someone if they are available. And then you communicate. You have about 10 minutes. If the conversation is really rolling, the employer can extend the time on the back end, but we see that on average, conversations last around 10 minutes, if not even a little bit shorter than that. So I know I just talked a lot, but that's really it. Erica, if you can go back to the lobby for me. You can just click the arrow next to auto owners. Perfect. So yeah, you, again, once you're in the lobby, kind of look through, see which employers are, of interest to you, pop in the queue, and then again, keep in mind all of the helpful hints on the right-hand side. So I'm not going to go over those right now, but once you log in, you'll see that. One of the most important being to have your notifications on, so you will get an alert when an employer becomes available. So Erica, can you think off the top of your head anything I may have missed, generally speaking, about Brazen?
Not about the platform itself. I think you pretty much covered it.
Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. So yeah, super easy. I mean, the feedback we've gotten from students is almost like, am I missing something? This almost seems too easy. So we had 2 events, Thursday and Friday last week, and those were sort of major specific. But that event on Friday, October 9th, our Alpha Kappa Psi Career Fair is an all major fair. All are welcome. We have employers spanning all industries there to meet with our students. So we just want to make sure that you all are ready ahead of that event.
Awesome. I think you covered it great. And I do think that students, that's the biggest thing, is they're just like, what am I missing? Like, what else is there to this?
Yeah.
It is so easy. You literally click on a booth and you chat right away with an employer. They can video request. But yeah, I mean, the software is so simple. It's great.
And that's sort of, we'll dive into some questions here, but just before I forget, since there is the ability for an employer to video chat or audio chat, most are choosing video. If you have an issue with a webcam, it's not working. I do not want that to be a deterrent. I've had a couple students ask me that, like, oh, my webcam's not working. Should I still go? Absolutely. And then just explain to the employer that you apologize, but you won't be able to connect by video.
Yeah.
That being said, if you do have a working webcam, make sure you're dressed professionally. Yes. Right? Like, don't be in your hoodie. Not only will you look good when you are connecting with that employer, but you'll also feel really good and really confident. So we just want to make sure that you know video chat is an option and no one is surprised by that.
Yeah, and
it would be an unpleasant surprise.
I've been giving a lot of presentations and answering a lot of questions on how to prepare for those virtual interviews and virtual career fairs. And yes, it is very important that you keep up that same professionalism that you would with in person. And I know we're going to answer some questions here about that in a minute, but very important you keep those same standards for yourself.
Awesome. So I think since I just did a bunch of talking, I want to hear from you, Erica. So I'm going to go rogue. We did prepare a list of questions.
Fine.
I'm going to go a little bit rogue here. So we talked about, obviously, the importance of a resume. And I would say that every student attending the fair, even if you are an underclassman and you're just trying to explore, should upload a resume. There may be many students listening to this and alumni that are like, I do not feel comfortable in my resume at all. Are there appointments still available? Do you think that someone could see you between now and October 9th? And how will we go about that again?
Absolutely. There's plenty of appointments available right now on Handshake. Really easy to schedule with one of us. Basically, and actually, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen with you again so that you can all see how to schedule, just in case anybody still has questions. So Shelby, I am going to log into Handshake really quick.
That's good. While you do that, I'm going to make another point. So once students meet with you and or our colleagues and they feel really great about their resume, when you go, you the student or participant, when you go into Brazen and you upload your resume, I would really suggest that you upload it as a PDF with your name saved as the file name, basically. Because when employers download it, it's much better to have them download a PDF version, and it would be helpful for them to, again, have it as your name. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
I see you have it pulled up here, Erica.
Yeah. So in Handshake, super easy to schedule. So all you do is you click on the Career Center, and then you click on Appointments. And then all you do is schedule a new appointment. There's a couple different things you can do here. So you can click Application Material, and you can either do a general resume review, or there's a couple options here. So a general resume review would be with our Reach Resume program. And basically what that is, we have students that are trained in resume critiques, and that's going to be more of a basic general overview. So they're going to help with things like overall appearance of your resume, the grammatical errors on your resume, kind of more of that, very general critique. If you're looking for more in-depth and more of a marketing approach to your resume, that's where you're going to want to meet with an assistant director. So that's where you would choose either the college that you're associated with, or if you're an alumni, you would choose this alumni option. Any of these that you choose, I'll just go ahead and click on my college. It'll bring up any of the dates that we have available. So if they're not, if they're shaded in, or if they're not highlighted, I should say, that means they're not available. But if they are highlighted and you click on them, it will show you the times that we have available. And then all you have to do is fill out a couple questions on here, basically what you're looking for in an appointment, and it'll get you all set up. Super, super easy. And then it'll be a half an hour appointment for you to go through your resume more in depth with us. And you can meet with us as many times as you want. So, if we go through it and say you feel like you need to go through it a couple more times, we need to go back and forth, and maybe email is just a little bit harder for you. You want to really talk face-to-face virtually. We're happy to go through it multiple times in an appointment with you as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's the importance is if you have the time and you have the ability to meet with a advisor or, whatever, career coach more than once, right? So you maybe get that initial feedback to really help you feel good. You go home, you make the edits, and then you can again get a sign off or, get any final tweaks before the event. So I would say after you're done watching this, if you have, your Wednesday afternoon open or even a few minutes, jump in there and grab an appointment right away.
Absolutely.
Any questions for me, Erica?
Yeah, so I think the biggest one that I'm getting from students, and I think that you can kind of touch on this a little bit better, is first of all, how many employers can students talk to at a time? So what are the logistics of that? And then, if they're waiting in line, can they talk to another employer while they're waiting in line? How does that all work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's really hard to explain, and I wish I knew more about tech and could explain the algorithms and everything, but my biggest concern was exactly that point. So, you will at any given time only be able to talk actively with one employer. That is a setting that is happening on the back end that we're not adjusting. But because I said you can talk in multiple booths, my fear was, as we encourage students to do that, will they lose, if they are talking to someone and then it was their spot, but they're not available because they're in a chat, would they then be dropped to the bottom? And that is not the case. Again, the average wait time for last week's events, 10 to 15 minutes, and that was on the high end. Many students did not have to wait at all, because in these booths, there are, between 5 and 8 representatives for these companies. So things move pretty quickly, but you can only talk to one employer at one time. And I think that's good, right? Like, who wants to try to be navigating 2 different chats with employers? So you will only have to worry about that, but it moves quickly. So it is not like you get a notification and then you get to approve something. Like, if you are in a line and your one conversation ends, you are automatically connected. So my advice for students would be, if you are going to, enter a bunch of lines, wait in a bunch of queues, understand that it's going to be probably back to back to back to back. So just make sure that you prepare for that and aren't alarmed. The other thing I would say, obviously we want you to have your notifications on, but if you can turn everything else off, so if you can, like, I know I didn't, and you could hear some of my email chimes come through on this live stream, make sure you're quitting your text. If you have text synced to your computer and stuff like that, we just don't want any other unnecessary noise while you're connecting with an employer. But you just have to enter and wait in lines, and it all works out to where you will automatically be connected. And again, wait times last week were not that long. So
Perfect.
Good news.
Awesome. One thing I do want to touch on too, just because I've had a lot of students ask me like how to prepare, and I'm sure that was probably one of the next questions you were going to ask me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to make sure I'm stressing to students, because I don't know if we touched on this yet, but there is a time limit set in place. So I believe the first time limit is 10 minutes, correct me if I'm wrong, and then the employer can extend the chat time. So one thing that I like to suggest to students is to have some prompts typed up in Word ready to go that you can quick edit and send to your employer. So for instance, some common questions would be like your elevator pitch. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You want to have some information about your past, present, and some future goals typed up, ready to go. Maybe you have your strengths and weaknesses ready. Having some short and long-term goals planned out. Just having some prompts ready, because in 10 minutes, you're not going to have time to type all of that. And I know I had a student that had come into our booth and said, I don't have time to type all of this in the time that I have. And so I said, you know what? Take some time right now, go into Word, type up some answers so that you aren't feeling super rushed when you're in these chats with employers. And so that's just something I want to stress to people, that you really want to go into this prepared because you do have those shortened time periods.
Yep, that's really, really good advice. And I think kind of going off of that, in addition to having prompts prepared, right? Because again, just based on last week, so it could be different for the upcoming fair, but it was for most students, it was a very quick, like, hi, I'm so-and-so from 3M, can we connect by video? So you didn't have to necessarily type it, but I know that there are a number of students who would, and I would too, feel stressed and like, I need to have that prepared. But in line with having those prepared ahead of time, do your research.
Yep.
Do your research. So we showed you how to go into Handshake, how to see who's attending, how to know the positions they're recruiting for. If you have a targeted list, spend some time looking at each of those companies. Check out, recent news headlines. Check out their website. What are they doing in their communities? How are they addressing some of these issues in society, social justice, all that. Do your homework ahead of time. So if you have the chance to connect with them and conversation is really flowing and that stuff comes up, you can demonstrate that you really did your research and you are very interested in the company, because I can tell you there's nothing more frustrating for employers than when the student says, oh, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
What is your company about? It's like, oh, you should know that before you even connect with them. So
yeah,
that would be certainly something I would advise students to do. And then one more point, Erica, because I know we're even closing in on a half hour here.
Mm-hmm.
When the fair ends, okay, students have the ability to access their chat history. It's going to be a button that's on the left-hand navigation. You can connect with us if you have any issues finding it, but it literally says, you hover it and it says chat history. You will get the names of who you talked to and exactly how the conversation went, anything over the chat, right? So any text. What you will not get is their contact information. So we always tell students, get a business card, follow up. And that was going to be a question for you, Erica, is how students can do that. But I would, and I'm sure you would agree, ask them for their email address.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you can do that in text. If you have to do that in a video or an audio chat, just make sure you have a notebook nearby or something to make sure that you're capturing that information, because you will not have access to that if you don't ask for it. That is something that, for security reasons, we are not letting students download all of that information. So you need to be proactive. You need to ask for it. And again, you can do that via the text, and then you can download it after, or ask them in your one-on-one communication. But what is the importance of a follow-up, Erica? I mean, would you agree that that's important to thank them for their time?
Absolutely. Thank them for their time. Send them a quick email, connect with them on LinkedIn to keep that conversation going. But I mean, keep it going regardless of whether you think that there's a future with that company or not, because you don't know where that's going to lead, right? So I would say regardless, keep the networking going, whether it be via LinkedIn or just touching base with them. But the more, like, say you go to the fair and you're a freshman or you're a sophomore and you're thinking, like, why do I need to follow up, right? I'm not looking for a job yet. Well, if you get your name and your face in their head every single time you go to these events, by the time you get to senior year and you apply, they're going to know who you are. So it's really important that you keep following up and you keep connecting so that you maintain that networking piece.
Awesome. And then the only other thing I really have to add, and then I'll turn it back to you, Erica, to wrap things up unless we see a question come through, is when you are looking at Handshake at these companies and the positions that they say they're actively recruiting for, I always suggest students still reach out. So let's say you're an HR major, and 3M, again, is only saying they're looking for IT interns. Still reach out to them, right? And acknowledge the fact that you saw they are only, actively recruiting this, but if it's a company that you are interested in, like, take your shot, right? They're there. And these folks oftentimes are alum, or yes, they are recruiting specifically in that area, but they know people, they have colleagues. And if the conversation really goes well, they can really just be a connection for you. So I do talk to students who do the research and then are really bummed because the companies they wanted to talk to aren't necessarily hiring their major or their program. But I say connect anyway. And by saying, you know, I realize that you are only recruiting for this and I don't want to waste your time, but I'm very interested in your company and I'd love to know if there's anybody you could connect me with. That goes a long way. So I would definitely make sure you're not discouraged if you aren't seeing your major in some of those companies.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to add too is don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to go into this thinking you're going to talk to every single employer that's in that session. You know, go in targeting 5 to 8 companies and really research them, because that's going to do so much more for you than trying to talk to every single person there. So yeah, as a rule of thumb, just don't overwhelm yourself with talking to every single person.
100%. I mean, Erica, I think that was quite the overview in 30 minutes. I don't know, I don't want to brag, but I think we went over a lot of material. And I hope none of you are feeling, you know, extremely overwhelmed. If you are, for whatever reason, whether you still have questions about the platform or how to prepare, whatever, connect with us, talk with us. You can drop a comment here. We'll follow up after the fact. You can message us on Facebook or you can make an appointment. And we really hope to see you soon virtually. We'd love to have appointments with you, but I will be in the fair. I will be in the Career Development Center booth. So if you need one person that you know that can maybe pump you up and give you the confidence that you need, drop by our booth and we'll connect.
All right. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Happy fall. And have a wonderful Wednesday today. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email, schedule an appointment, and we will see you in a couple of weeks on our next Coffee with a Career Coach. Have a wonderful day.
We'll see ya.